Oh, you're sneaky. Hey, I've been known to sneak a leak myself. When it comes to people who are insufferable, they make appearances. You want to get away from them really, really fast, they want something from you. Time, money, who knows? Just run in their mouth. It takes a brave soul to reach into your back pocket and pull out this phrase, but the payoff, instant, and that is, uh-oh, explosive diarrhea, gotta go. Sadly, sometimes you might actually experience explosive diarrhea because, well, you ate something funky. You went to that food truck, ignored that little voice in your head saying, how do they wash their hands in there all day? Or maybe you prepared something yourself and you didn't sing the alphabet after you went to the bathroom. All right, I see you guys in bathrooms. Not you guys, but you know, you guys in general, public, how people wash their hands. It's any wonder that from time to time we get a little, And I know what you're already thinking. You're a dermatologist. Why are you talking about a gastrointestinal illness? And to that I say, are you new here? Have you not heard the mantra? Go ahead and say it with me. The skin. Repeat it. The skin. I promise this isn't an occult recruitment video. The skin. It is a window to what is going on internally. Honestly, there aren't many skin warning signs of food poisoning. It would be great, but a lot of times that's not how things go. However, there is one situation where you can develop a very striking, prominent skin rash in the setting of a particular type of food poisoning. It can throw you for a loop. You might be confused. Other people who ate the exact same thing may be unaffected, and you're like, what is going on? Am I allergic? Kind of looks like an allergy to the untrained eye. We are going to break it down. I have come to learn from interacting with you guys over the years that a lot of you all are fans of fish in your diet. I did a video a few years ago talking about that study on the association of tuna and melanoma. I also had a video earlier this year, last year, time is just melding together, on eating sardines for anti-aging purposes. I myself do not eat things with faces, as you guys know, but there is a situation when it comes to eating fish that can land you in the house of pain, give you a rash, and confuse you to no end. And that is scrombroid fish poisoning. If you're like, whoa, what kind of fancy dish is that? Scrombroid sounds like something that you have to pay a lot of money for, and you're only getting a tiny little teaspoon full of it, and you're gonna leave with $150 out of your pocket and an empty stomach. But scrombroid is just fancy terminology for different types of fish in this family. It includes tuna, mackerel, bonito, the butterfly kingfish. I'm gonna butcher this one. Kahawai? I think that's how you say it. These are fish that typically have a dark meat. Occasionally you'll encounter this problem with other fish, but these are the main players. These fish contain a chemical called histidine. However, when they're stored improperly and they're allowed to get to a temperature greater than 15 degrees Celsius because somebody was out to lunch and didn't pay attention, the bacteria multiply and they turn that histidine into scrombotoxin, which contains histamine, and it's that histamine that will jack you up. And I know what you're thinking, well, you know, I cooked the fish, I smoked it, I boiled it, I poached it, I put it in, what's that jazzy thing a lot of people do where it's like a Ziploc bag and a water bath with like, looks like a science experiment. Yeah, heat does not destroy the scrombotoxin. Destroys the bacteria, but it's too little too late. Here's the funky thing about this. The amount of histamine, the amount of scrombotoxin and histamine in the fish varies depending on the rate of decomposition within the fish. So in other words, its tail may be off, but its head may be fine, okay? So say for example, you went out on a fishing trip, you caught a bunch of tuna, and you were slack, you didn't put it on ice, you didn't refrigerate it right away, and it got too warm. Well, you might chop that up, serve it, cook it, poach it, boil it, however you do it, put it on a plank, and some people are eating it and they're just fine, whereas you eat it and you get sick. Is that because you're sensitive? No, you ate the funky part. You ate the funk of the fish. They didn't get the funky part. So one or two people might get sick, whereas other people are just fine. And you can see how that's a confusing picture, because you might think, oh, am I allergic to this fish? No one else got sick. What does this type of food poisoning look like? Well, it starts within 30 minutes to an hour of consuming the fish. You initially feel warm and flushed. Then you get this impressive, bright red rash. Face, upper chest, back. It's bright red, it's warm, and it's itchy, because these are all signs of histamine, basically. Itch, heat, warmth, redness. It's so easy to confuse this rash and think it's an allergic reaction, because yes, histamine plays a role in allergic reactions, but here there's no allergy involved. It's not an immune response to something that you have developed an allergy to, but rather it is the effect of a toxin present in the fish that is primarily histamine. So the skin clue that it's this, along with the history obviously, and not, oh, I'm allergic to tuna, is also the fact that if you look at the rash, it's completely flat. There's no raised aspect. People who have food allergies, shortly after consuming the problematic food, they will develop flushing and hives. Hives are raised. Whealing is what that's called. You don't get any whealing. You just get flat redness within the skin, and it's bright red. Oftentimes you'll have a burning sensation in the mouth. Histamine can jack you up. I mean, it's one of those, it's not the poison, it's the dose. And we've got histamine doing all kinds of things in our body. But here is too much, and yeah, it'll make you feel flushed. Your heart will start pounding. You'll get an intense headache in many cases. Better be near a bathroom, because abdominal pain, nausea, diarrhea, vomiting are possibilities. You might feel dizzy, have difficulty breathing. Your blood pressure can get too low, causing you to pass out. For many victims of scrombroid fish poisoning, they'll actually just turn a corner within about 3 hours and their symptoms will resolve. Not everyone, however. Again, a lot of it depends on the individual, their overall size, how much they ate, how much of the toxin was present, and so it can take much longer to recover. But you don't have to suffer with scrombroid fish poisoning. You can take an antihistamine. That's a class of medications that will shut these symptoms down, alleviate them. If you take a fast-acting antihistamine, you will get relief pretty shortly. For example, diphenhydramine acts pretty quickly. Most people, this will resolve and they won't need ongoing treatment, but for some people with more intense poisoning symptoms, may go on for a couple of days. They may need to continue to take antihistamines, ideally those that are non-sedating, such as cetirizine, fexofenadine. Also, there's a class of antihistamines that are in the H2 class, a little different. These aren't typically used to treat allergies. These include cimetidine and ranitidine. They act a little bit differently in terms of their antihistamine effect, but they can be helpful in these situations. The important take-home point here is that scrombroid fish poisoning might happen to just you and no one else who ate the exact same fish. It's not an allergic reaction. There is no whealing. Because it's not an allergic reaction, epinephrine, aka an EpiPen, and steroids do nothing. There's no immune system response coming in here. It's just the toxin doing its thing. It's not an allergic reaction. Because it's not an allergic reaction, you are free to safely consume that type of fish again in the future, provided, of course, you store it properly. You don't eat a funky one, all right? It's been stored on ice in the refrigerator, eaten shortly thereafter. So for example, if this happened to you after eating tuna, well, you can eat tuna again in the future. The other take-home point is, while it's the bacteria that produce this toxin in the fish, the bacteria is not the problem once you become sick. You're not sick from the bacteria, you're sick from the toxin that it produced. The bacteria is not what makes you sick, it's the toxin. For that reason, antibiotics, which are used to treat bacteria, they don't work to get rid of the symptoms. It's an antihistamine. That is a treatment of choice, and you're free in the future to eat these fish again. It is not an allergy. How do you prevent this from happening? Well, you want to make sure, especially those of you who fish, okay, and you catch these types of fish and you eat them, you prepare them for your friends and family, you don't want to be that person that gives your friends scrombroid food poisoning. They will not be coming back to the fish fry in the future. No, sir. Here is a clue that the fish is funky. If it has a peppery taste to it, that is the taste of decomposing fish. That being said, if the fish tastes fine, it is not a guarantee that it's not off. So just because the fish tasted fine and other people didn't get sick, doesn't mean it wasn't funky. If you fish, you want to make sure that freshly caught and killed fish are immediately put on ice or in the refrigerator and eaten that day. The FDA actually requires fish to have a histamine level less than 50 milligrams per kilogram of weight. So again, it's not the poison, it's the dose, all right? So there's gonna be some histamine in a fish. Once it gets over 200 milligrams per kilogram of weight of the fish, whew, that is pretty hazardous. I bring that up just to emphasize the point that it's not the poison, it's the dose. And dose makes all the difference. In this case, you have a bacteria that has been allowed to proliferate in the fish because it got too warm, decomposed the flesh, produced this toxin, and it's the toxin, not the bacteria, that ends up making you sick. The toxin includes histamine, which is responsible for all the symptoms, but in contrast to histamine produced from an allergy in your body, this is not an allergic reaction. It's histamine within the toxin. It's not histamine that your immune system is producing. So much different. Not an allergy, not an infection, but you might have explosive diarrhea, and if your friend did this to you, don't hang out with them again in the future. All right, y'all, that's what I wanted to talk about with regards to food poisoning, skin warning signs. There aren't too many. There aren't too many, but on the end slide, I'm going to link my recent video all about warning signs of heavy metal toxicity. Check that one out next. Your eyes will be opened wide as to, well, you know the mantra. The skin, it does not lie. It does not lie. It'll give you many clues if you just look at it and know what you are looking at. All right, y'all, if you enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.